Hi everyone, my name is Siamak and this is my Geosynthetics podcast. In this episode, I have a very special guest. Rob McIlwraith is with me today, and thank you, Rob, for giving us your time and talking to me and my audience today.
Well, thank you, Siamak. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you. Feel very honoured, actually.
Thanks.
Thank you.
So like any other episode of my podcast, I want to start with your career generally, and then with geosynthetics. The question is quite easy. Where did you start after university, and how did you end up in geosynthetics?
Okay, thanks, Siamak. Well, I started off as a civil engineer, studied civil engineering at university. Then I moved into general design of various things in various projects. I did a bit of bridge design, I did a bit of structural steel. I was involved in building an alcohol distillery, which was actually quite fun. So I had quite a lot of mixed areas, but I found a calling towards the geotechnical side, and I was doing some foundation designs and some landfills, and that's when I got into the sort of all the geogrids and the protection geotextiles, the different types of membranes, and I found it quite interesting. And while I was working as an engineer, I actually did some other subjects in terms of marketing and in terms of export management, just because I liked those subjects, and I wasn't thinking of moving into that field, but I like learning and learning new things. So, and then I just happened to see this job advert saying they're looking for a civil engineer for a geosynthetics company to do exporting. And I thought, that's I don't know any other civil engineer who knows about exporting. So let me just, apply. And I applied for the company, and I got the job, and I actually haven't looked back. I've been very happy, and it was a really good move for me.
Perfect. And that was back in South Africa?
Yes, that was back in South Africa. So I moved into that manufacturing company. I changed from consulting engineering into manufacturing. It was in 1997, so quite a few years ago now. So it's 23 years ago. But I must say I'm happy with the decision. And it's I've stayed in geosynthetics because I love it. It's a very challenging and interesting field. It's growing all the time. There's new products and new applications coming out. And you see a general acceptance of geosynthetics now, and it's actually quite interesting how the sort of whole industry is improving and going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No, perfect. And then since you moved to Australia, you started with a manufacturing company here in Australia. And what did you learn about being on the manufacturer's side, and what did you find interesting in it? You spent quite a few years in there. How was that?
Yes, so I was very lucky. I got a transfer from the company in South Africa to Australia, and the guys were very good to me, and we found generally everyone in Australia has been incredibly nice to us, so we've been very happy here. And in terms of the manufacturing, it's interesting to work for a manufacturer because you got to make things, but make things that the market wants, and the engineering designers need. So that was very interesting. I was still focusing a lot on exports. So from Australia, we exported stuff all over the place, lots into Southeast Asia, even to China. We would go against the trend, but we were doing it some very specialist products for road rehab and things. We supplied a lot of materials into South America, into the big mines there, so various places all around the world, into the Middle East. It was actually very interesting and challenging times, but nice to find unusual projects around the world and supply them solutions.
That's right. And so basically, you started sort of a connection with other parts of the world, and maybe France was one of them, and this became a new thing for you. And I would just want to ask you about your startup business, because after that period of being working for a manufacturer company, you started a new business, a new product for the Australian market, which has grown a lot since you started this. So how did you find that sort of transfer or transition into that role, and starting a new business and starting with new product?
Well, it was actually quite interesting how this all developed, because My father was actually born in France, so
Okay.
I've got a Scottish surname.
Yes.
So McIlwraith is Scottish, and my grandfather was Scottish, and my grandmother was French.
Yep.
So I've I've been to France many times, and lots of family there and things. I just happened to see this product, which was made in France, and it was a geomembrane, and quite interesting. And then I saw an advert for this, and I thought, wow, that's quite interesting. It's French, and it's it's very like a bit of a unique product. It was quite high level. It's a high quality, but it's very expensive as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, let me just go and just investigate this, because I think in life, I mean, even though I was happy in my current job, I think everybody owes it to themselves to look at new opportunities along the way, and just see if you can, improve your life as you go along, And for me, I'm glad I made that step, because it was a very good challenge to setting up a new kind of business here in Australia.
That's right.
It's hard because a product was expensive, but it's got a lot of very good technical characteristics that are very good for sites.
That's right.
So once you have good one-on-one discussions with engineers, and you can see the benefits, they can see how these things can help them on the site, and I'm very happy because like most of the engineers in Australia will try to do the best solution for the project rather than just the cheapest solution.
That's right.
And so it's a real pleasure to work here in Australia. And plus, I had a lot of good support from our team in France, and it's just a teamwork with everybody. It's a lot of interaction with everybody. We've got a good research and development team in France, and we've got other my colleagues around the world in the Czech Republic, in Canada, in South America. And just this morning, before I came through here, they were sending some stuff overnight because they were working on different hours, and
right.
I was sending stuff back to them, and we cooperate a lot, around the world. So I like that sort of international interaction and seeing what's happening around the world. So it's been an interesting challenge, this developing the business, but I really loved it, and it kind of also put to use some of my skills. I also learned some more business. I did a master's in some business courses. And that was actually quite interesting how you can look at strategies and things, and so I like I'm very happy because it's a mixture of technical aspects as well as some marketing and commercial things as well.
That's right. Yeah. And I think you've done pretty well the past couple of years, starting a new business with a new product, and like you said, a lot of people, maybe because of the the price, or maybe they not being aware of the advantages compared to the other available products in the market, and that business has gone really successful, and I think you have grown your business and your team recently, and
yes.
That's quite successful.
Yeah, so we've just added another engineer to our team, and he's actually part of the IGS as well, and really great to have him on board as well. It's Preston Kendall, and so we were really enjoying working with Preston. The business is just continuing to grow very nicely, so we're very, very happy. It's great.
Yeah,
good.
Great. And you talked about international connections, and from your business you have these connections with different countries, and I know you have traveled around the world for business, and that's what you enjoy doing a lot. Every time I call you, you're on the road or you're somewhere, sometimes even in a different country. And so what have you found interesting in that? And I assume you enjoy traveling. What opportunities that brought to you, and why do you enjoy that?
Well, you're right. I do love traveling, because I think I've been lucky enough to travel to more than 50 countries now, and some of them for work, some of them for pleasure, but a lot of them for work. And that's the advantage of geosynthetics. You actually can go to see these unusual projects in places that I would never really have the opportunity to go to by myself. Like, I'm just thinking of some of the places like Madagascar, Reunion Island, Mauritius, maybe Peru, Chile, even China, like some of the places in the mountains, some really like unusual places. I've been to Dubai many times, but I'm very lucky that I've had a chance to to see all these things. And I do enjoy traveling, but it's, there's the contrast. You've got to be careful not to travel too much because it's kind of disruptive for family life and things. That's right. But luckily my wife is pretty tolerant, maybe and supportive. Maybe absence makes the heart grow fonder, I don't know. But no, she's great, and we've got like two kids as well, and they're growing up well now. So sort of managed to keep a little bit of work-life balance going along the way. I also think it's important to have other things besides just doing work. I mean, through my life I've done a lot of volunteer work with like sea rescues and life saving, and I'm also a mentor for some of the university students, which I really love. I love to see people like sort of trying to improve their lives and going forward. And I think like study, and any type of study that you do is important, is like really useful and important, and helps you grow in all sorts of different ways. So I actually enjoy the interaction with the students as well, because you learn so much from them as well, you know. So it's a two-way communication.
That's right.
So I really enjoy that.
Always new ideas from younger people, students especially.
Yeah, amazing.
And like you said, work-life balance, that's a pretty important thing. And geosynthetics industry, I think, is one of the industries that provides a lot of opportunities to people who like that work-life balance, who like that sort of interaction with people from different parts of the world. And that's what you do. Very good. So my last question, Rob, about a highlight in your career. So you look back 20 plus years in geosynthetics, and before that in consulting and civil design engineering. What do you think that highlight could be, if it's one highlight or more than one? And why do you think that's a highlight of your career?
Yeah, thanks, Siamak. I think I've been lucky. There's so many good things that have come along the way for me, and it's hard to pinpoint one exact highlight. But I mean, I've been to lots of different places. I've met amazingly interesting people from different cultures, and I worked on some really incredible projects. So that's as a general highlight, just the people and the cultures, which is really interesting. The highlight, maybe we just talked about it briefly, but the starting up the business here is quite a challenge, and I'm glad to see it's growing well. But a small little highlight that came out of just is a small thing. But when I was a young guy at school, I was really bad at public speaking. I was always like scared of it. And even now, like I was like a little bit nervous for coming to speak to you, but I think I'm getting better as time goes by. And I think that's one of the advantages of being in geosynthetics and just the sort of general interaction with people, that you become a little bit more confident and able to speak a little bit better. But I was always scared of like public speaking, like in front of a big audience. And the one thing that stood out for me, and it's only like really relevant for us guys who are in the geosynthetic market, but that's is something when Dr. Jean-Pierre Giraud, which I think many of your listeners will know. He's like the real expert for many years in geosynthetics. And when I was a young engineer, I was reading his papers and like kind of like following everything that he was saying, and I was really impressed with what he was doing. And what happened was a few years ago, you were actually at this conference as well in Seoul, in Korea, and I had to get up and do a few different presentations, but the one I was presenting on, I think it might have been mining or maybe hydraulics, but Dr. Jean-Pierre Giraud comes into the hall to listen to me, and I thought, wow, that's quite like a change around, and I was feeling quite honored, and that's kind of like a highlight in kind of the geosynthetic terms for me, you know, and that stands out as but I was very, very happy with that. But I think generally, being in this industry has helped me, you know, be a little bit better at communicating and presenting. So I'm a long way from being perfect, but I like to try and improve myself as I go on.
Let me tell you, one thing that I hear from almost everyone about you is that you're pretty confident, you're a really good communicator, and I had similar things about like public speaking. I think it still happens that, you know, the first few seconds before you start, like the nerves and everything goes really high, and then as soon as you start, everything goes smoothly.
And the more you do it, the easier it becomes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And like you said, geosynthetics has been an industry that people interact with each other no matter where they come from or how much knowledge or previous knowledge they had. You can hear from Jean-Pierre Giroud or from Kerner or from Kerry Rowe, and you can also present in a place that they're actually sitting and listening. So it's we all learn from each other.
Yeah.
And I think that's a very good thing and a big advantage for this industry, which we hope it continues.
Fantastic. And I wanted to say thank you to you for arranging this this interview, and it's just nice. I think your sort of efforts to spread the word about different things in geosynthetics is really appreciated, and I know people love listening to the previous podcasts that you've done.
Thanks very much, and I'm glad to hear from you about the podcast. So thanks, Rob, for giving your time and talking to me and my audience today, and we hope hopefully catch up in the future.
Fantastic. Thanks, Siamak.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.